Hello, and welcome to episode 32 of the Sarah Seams podcast. My name is Sarah. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our three cats, Alex, Moo, and Elsie. Elsie is our new kitten. I'll talk more about her at the end. But yeah, this is my little corner of the internet where I share all about my crafty projects. It's mostly knitting, but also today we have a little bit of sewing, a little bit of quilting, a little bit of spinning. I've been doing a lot of different things lately. And it's been a minute. It's been about 4 weeks, I think, since my last podcast. So I have a lot to share with you today. Forgive my voice if it's a little raspy. I think I've got some allergies going on. But yeah, I'm really excited to be back and be sharing everything with you today. I've been doing a ton of crafting. I feel like summer is always a good time for crafting for me because I still want to be knitting, but I also want to be sewing and quilting and doing all these other things. And Tour de Fleece has started. There's a lot of exciting things going on. So with that, I think we should jump right in. I should also say, which I always forget, you can find my links to my Instagram and my Ravelry in the description box below if you're interested in following along. I tend to post more like project details and more like life things and updates and stories on Instagram. And then on Ravelry, I'm not the best about adding a ton of details into Ravelry, but I do always at least put a finished object photo and whatever details I have in there. So what am I wearing today? This is my Rhoda jumper. This pattern is by Irene Lynn, and I made this last year and I love it. It's like my favorite summery jumper. Let me see if I can get far enough back to show you. So super oversized, super boxy, just like cozy. The yarn is Juniper Moon Farms Cumulus Base, which is like it's a really fluffy, lightweight, what's the word I'm looking for? Chainette cotton yarn. So it's super light and super airy, and it's one of the softest things I own. I love wearing it. It has this drop sleeve, has these kind of cute, like puffy little 3/4 length sleeves. Here's the back. And yeah, I love it. I've actually knit a couple iterations of this pattern. So first I knit the vest version, the like slip over version in a wool. Then I knit this one, and I also used this as a base for my Mabel jumper that I made at the end of last year, which was like inspired by a sweater that Selena Gomez wore in Only Murderers in the Building, which I can post a picture of my sweater here, how it turned out, but I used this pattern as like a jumping off point to create that texture. So it's one I really like. I could see myself making this one again. I think if I made this again, I would go down a size. I made the recommended size, but there's so much positive ease in it. I think I could easily go down a size for a slightly more fitted version that's still like got that cozy, like summery vibe. So this is my only longer sleeve summer knit, but it's probably my most worn summer knit. I don't know if that tells you anything. Okay, so that is what I'm wearing. Let's jump into FOs because I have 6 to share with you. First one is a sewing project. So my sister has a jewelry business, and she was a vendor at the Columbus Pride Festival this year, and I went and helped her both days. So we were there all day. It was so much fun, like the best people watching ever. Got to meet so many nice people. It was just a really great time, but I wanted to make some kind of like rainbow dress to wear to the event. So I made the trusty orchard dress, which is a pattern by Helen's Closet. I made it like 100 times, and I made it out of this really fun rainbow check linen. I feel like this is like a viral sewing fabric. I think Blackbird Fabrics had it first and it like went crazy. I actually bought mine from Matchy Sewing Club. Yeah. But yeah, so I actually opted to make the shorter version of the orchard dress this time. Usually I make the longer one, but I'm trying to kind of embrace like showing a little more leg this summer. So I made the shorter version. It's still knee length. It's not like scandalous. And I added a little side slit in the bottom hem, just a little tiny one for a little more movement. And I think it turned out really, really cute. I did not do the best job at actually this side looks pretty good, but you can see I didn't do a perfect job of matching up the side seams, but you know what, that's okay. This was a pretty last minute sew. It was perfect for what I wanted it for. It was very hot at the festival, and this like lightweight little easy breezy linen dress was absolutely perfect. And yeah, it was perfect rainbow. I think I'll definitely wear it again. It's very easy to throw on a super hot day, and we've had a lot of very hot days here lately. We had a week where we were in the like heat dome, and it was over like 95 degrees every day for like 10 days. And that was really brutal because it's also very humid here. The heat indexes were like well over 100 degrees every day. So this is the perfect dress for that kind of weather. But yeah, like I said, trusty pattern. I made it 100 times. Those were just a couple of little modifications that I made. I will say this linen is fairly lightweight and a little bit sheer. So I did wear like a bralette and shorts under it and felt perfectly comfortable that way. I don't think I'd be comfortable in it if I didn't wear shorts under it. Personal preference, but yeah. Okay. On to knitting. I have 5 knitting episodes. Like I said, it's been a minute, so I have lots to share. Okay, so first I have 2 pairs of finished socks. The first ones I finished were, so I'm working my way through all the sock patterns in Summer Lee's newest book, The Sock Project. And the basic sock number 5 recipe was a toe up fleagle heel, and I did finish those. So here they are. I had never knit a fleagle heel before. I think it is an interesting construction. It actually fits me very well. I think I have a high instep, and it gives a lot of width through here. And I feel like these look crazy, like they look so long in the foot, but this is one of the best fitting pairs of socks that I've made. And the yarn is kind of wild. I really can't decide if I like it or not. I got it secondhand. It's by Twink Knits. It's an 80% merino, 20% nylon blend. There's no color name. And yeah, it's this kind of like grayish cream base with these little flecks of like purple and pink. And then I used hot pink for the cuff and toe. And I don't know, I think this is a pair where I like them more on than I do off. You know, I think a lot of times with socks, I think they look better flat than they do on your foot. But with these, they look much cuter on the foot. I don't know, it's just kind of an unusual yarn. We did get, overall, I think the speckles are pretty evenly distributed, but we did get some pooling here when working the heel, but I think they turned out fun. Those are gonna go in my box of socks for the holidays, for me. All right, another pair of socks I just recently finished, and these are definitely my favorite ones I've made this year, if not like one of my favorite pairs ever. So another pattern from Summer's book. So after you get through the basic sock recipes, then there's 2 striped patterns. This was the first one, and these are the Happy Scrappy striped socks. Here's one. Oh, that's the inside. Aren't they pretty? So I just went stash diving for all these little scrappy colors, and I just love how all these colors work together. Summer recommends using, this is the actual recommended yarn. It's Knit Pick Stroll Bear that she recommended using as the main color. It's just an undyed sock yarn. I think it kind of ties it together nicely, like brightens it all up a bit. I just love these colors. I love this, like, sorry, I'm recording a little earlier than usual, so my lighting is a little bit different. Hopefully you can see everything. Try to remember to show it this way. I love this like bright purple. I really love how all the colors play together. These are knit cuff down. It has a 2x2 rib cuff. These are 5-row stripes, and I did use her recommended method for weaving in the ends as you go, and that was a game changer for me. That made weaving it, like at the end, all you have to do is tug the little ends and trim them. So much of a time saver. It's a little bit more fiddly as you're going, but I think it's totally worth it to learn that technique. And I think she might even have a YouTube video that like shows this technique as well if you're interested and you don't have the book. And I also did her recommended method for was a jogless stripe. They're not perfect. Maybe this one's better. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It's definitely better than if you didn't do the jogless stripe technique, but it's not perfect. So one thing I did that she doesn't recommend, in the book anyway, is that for the afterthought heel, I like wanted the seams to both be on the inside of my leg so you can't see them as much. So instead of knitting both socks exactly the same so that like both would have the seam on this side, so when you're wearing them, one would end up being on the outside of your leg, I flipped where the side that the heel went on the second sock, so that both of the seams are facing the middle, like facing the inside of the leg. I hope that makes sense. I feel like that's just one of those little things that you can, you know, the more socks you knit, the more you like are able to think through, like, how do you want them to fit you? How do you want to wear them? And that's a thing that is just like a nice little detail for me, to have those seams on the inside of the leg, and really easy. And instead of putting your afterthought heel row, actually I did a forethought heel. I put, okay, sorry, I'm getting scattered. Instead of doing it on the last set of 32 stitches, you do it on the first set. So you just do one on the first set and one on the last set. Then you have your heel on each side. I actually did a forethought heel because I wanted the heel to be right in between the two stripes, and I wanted to protect the width of the stripe. So I did 5 rows here, insert a row for my forethought heel, and then kept knitting. And basically the difference is with an afterthought heel, you'd be losing a row of stitches right here. So this stripe would get skinnier, and I wanted it to remain the full length. So that's why I did the forethought heel instead. I actually prefer the afterthought heel. I think you get tidier corners. That one actually looks pretty good, but I think on this sock, like here specifically, you can see there's a little bit of a hole. With the afterthought heel, I just think that's a lot tidier, because if you leave the last couple stitches, if you don't unpick the last couple stitches when you're taking out the afterthought row, it really makes a nice clean corner, and I do prefer that. But I think for stripes, especially stripes like this, the forethought heel is better. So if you've ever wondered, like, what's the difference? They are essentially the same. It's just that the afterthought heel takes a row of stitching out of your work, and if you visually want that, it's best to do the forethought heel. That's my take. Anyway, I love these. They fit me very well. I love the stripes. They were so fun and addictive to knit. I like could not put them down because I just wanted to keep knitting another stripe. So stripey socks for the win. These are also going in my box of socks for me. And yeah, I got my sock knitting mojo back for sure. I had lost it for a little bit there, but it is back with a vengeance. Okay, next, speaking of socks, usually every summer, Sari Nordland does her summer sock knit along, which I've participated in for the past 3 years. This year, she's doing a summer scarf knit along instead. She's calling it a summer shawl knit along, but they're very small shawls. So I'm participating in that, and I did finish the first one, and I think it was probably cast on and off since I last talked to you. So the pattern came out on June 8th, and I finished it last week, I think. I had a big like project finishing week last week. I have always got so many whips on the go. Last week I finished 4 knitting projects, and that felt so good to just get a bunch of those off the needles. So yes, this was one of those things. And this is the Poet Scarf. So it's a little triangle shawl. It's my favorite ever lace motif, Sari's poet motif. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure, hi, that you can see that. Yeah, it's just this beautiful seed stitch motif within the lace. It has nice I-cord edges. I do think my I-cords, not on the straight edge, but on the diagonal edges, are a little bit tight. On the next one, I will consider adding some like additional I-cord rows just to loosen that up a little bit, because I wasn't able to get quite as much length out of this as I wanted. The yarns I used were, this is one of my favorite yarns ever. It's so beautiful. This one, which is, have the ball band, Coast to Coast Yarn Company. The colorway is Sprinkle, and this was from I think this was part of their advent last year. My friend Jess gifted this to me. It's their classic sock base, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, dyed in Kansas. So this is my first time using their yarn, but it's beautiful. It's just this like creamy, warm, neutral base, but it has all these little flecks of white and like rainbow speckles. It's so, so pretty and subtle. So I love the color on its own, but I wasn't sure how great it would be on my skin tone on its own. So I decided to hold it with mohair, and I just held it with this white Rowan Kid Silk mohair, or it's like an off-white. And yeah, this is the fabric that I got. I think it's a beautiful, soft color, but when you're up close, you can, and hopefully you can see, there's all these like beautiful little purple and pink speckles. And I think the mohair softened it nicely, but like I said, you can still really see the detail. So these little scarves, I think I'm most likely to wear it like this, like in the winter with my coat, but it is also cute to wear it like this and do a little tie if you want to see a little bit more of the lace. So I think I could definitely wear it either way, like with a coat. For me, I mean, it looks very pretty in like Sari's photos, how she has it just kind of like draped over her shoulders. But for me, I feel like it's not really big enough to like practically wear it that way. Like you can't really wrap it over your shoulders. You kind of have to bring it around. So like it could be pretty with like a little cuff or something worn like this. But I mean, all the photos are like, oh, but I feel like it's like not really practical to wear it that way, at least for me. So I do think I'm probably gonna end up keeping this one for myself, but there is a possibility that any or all of these will end up becoming Christmas gifts. I do really love this yarn and this lace, like this one like has my heart, but there's gonna be two more. So the next one's gonna be the Kutar shawl, which is coming out, I think, next week, like July 5th or 8th maybe. And that is Sari's Kutar lace pattern, which is, I've knit the Kutar socks before, beautiful lace pattern. I think I'm gonna knit that one in a solid DK, so that one won't have mohair. And then we'll see what the last one is. I already have yarn picked out for it, but yes, there's gonna be one more in July and then one more in August. But this is the first one. So really enjoy knitting it. These are super fun and quick to knit, and I do feel like they make great gifts. So this one I think I'm probably gonna keep, but we'll see about the other two if they end up in the gift box or in my closet. Okay, next, this is an exciting one. I've been working on this for a while, and I just kind of got determined to finish it. So this is a gift from my friend's son, and it is the Hannah cardigan. Here it is. Oh, it's so cute. So yes, this is the Hannah cardigan by Sarah and Topinkov. I am knitting, well, I did knit. This is the size 2 to 3 years. The beautiful yarn is Ritual Dye's Priestess, which is their DK Superwash Merino base. The color is Sugar Maple. I used three skeins to make this. It is knit top down, and it is half fisherman's rib. So it's just got this beautiful squishy texture. I don't even know what to say. I love it. So the pattern comes with 2 button band options, either a double knit button band or a classic rib knit. I opted to do the rib knit. Buttons, I just went stash diving and found these are literally all different, but they, I think, feel similar enough, and they look really cute on here. These little tortoiseshell buttons. The back has a really pretty shoulder detail with that fisherman's rib. I do think you can tell, especially on the back, that the first skein I used had a lot more of the darker like reds in it than the other two. But I'm really glad that I started with that one, so it's kind of a focal point like at the chest and shoulders, and then it kind of fades down. The sleeves are also a little bit lighter. The sleeves were a trip. I honestly, the body was done for a while and I just kept putting off knitting the sleeves because I was struggling with them. At first I tried knitting them on DPNs. That was really hard because the sleeve is so small and the DPNs in this needle size, because it's a fairly large needle, are very heavy. So that wasn't doing it for me. Ripped it out. A viewer on the last episode had a great suggestion to try knitting the sleeves flat. So that's what I tried next. And I got like probably this far into the sleeve and realized that I had picked up the stitches on the wrong side and I was knitting the sleeve inside out. And also I was struggling a little bit with knitting it flat, and the idea of having to seam it was a bit daunting. So I took a time out from it. And then I ultimately decided to just knit them magic loop and pick them up on the right side. And that was totally fine. Once I landed on that method, I had no issues. So I do think going forward, knitting kids' sleeves, I'm just gonna do magic loop because I think it's easier. My decreases on this one sleeve look much better than the other sleeve. So I'm not sure what happened. Here's the decreases on this, the one that looks really nice. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention on this one or what, but a couple of the decreases here, you can see they're not like connected to the center spine. So I'm not really sure what happened. I think it looks fine still, but just to point that out, the decreases were a little bit weird. Overall, I really, really enjoyed knitting this. I'm planning to make another one in the smaller 1 to 2 year size for my other friend's son. And I'll probably cast that on in the next couple of weeks. The yarn blocked beautifully. It's very soft, very squishy. I think this is going to be a super cute little cardigan for him to wear in the fall. And his birthday's in July, so I think I'm going to give it to him for his birthday. And Mariah, if you're watching, that's a spoiler, but oh well. Anyway, my one complaint about this yarn, and I think this is just the nature of these colors, is that it bled a lot. So while I was working on it, it would turn my hands yellow, like really yellow. To the point where I was even afraid of handling it if I didn't want to have like yellow hands. And then when I blocked it, I washed it really thoroughly and it did still lose a lot of ink in the washing. So now that it's blocked, I definitely don't feel ink coming off of, or dye coming off of it anymore. Like I've like rubbed like a slightly damp hand on it, and I'm not really getting any dye transfer. So that makes me feel better about him being able to wear it without like turning yellow. But I already told Mariah this, and I would probably still feel the same way. It probably needs to be washed separately. I think it could go in the washing machine, but like probably needs to be washed separately at least once or twice, and probably wouldn't want to put it over like a white t-shirt. But I think, you know, that is kind of the nature of these really saturated red dyes, is that they just tend to bleed and the color fastness is a little tough. So hopefully that's not too much of a burden and they'll still be able to wear it. But if not, it's just kind of a cute little showpiece and I really enjoyed knitting it. So definitely gonna pass that on to them and I hope that they enjoy it. I think it turned out really cute and I'm excited to cast on another one. I would recommend the pattern. I think it was pretty well written. The only thing I thought was wonky were those decreases, but everything else, it was very enjoyable. There's also an adult size version of this that was recently released if you're interested. Okay, last one. And then I have like a note. One other thing I want to show you. So I finished my test knit. I was test knitting the campus vest for Amy Scher. I will put a picture in here of what it looks like, her version. I'm not going to show you mine on today because I haven't exactly decided how to style it yet, and also for another reason I'm going to tell you, which is that it's a little too big. So here it is. Sorry, it's been folded up. So I made the size E, which is the 5th size, and I did the smallest, the size 1 bust darts, so just a small bust dart. I really wanted to knit this. I think it's so cute. I signed up for this size. I was kind of between sizes. I went for the bigger one because I thought I was more likely to get chosen for the test, and I was, so that worked out. However, I do wish that I had knit the smaller size. It came out exactly to spec. It's just bigger than I want it to be. So it is a cropped vest, and it does hit me perfectly, just like right above my or below my natural waist, which I love. But it's just got an extra couple of inches on the sides that I don't love. I don't mind the width really in the body, but the armhole sticks out and that bothers me. The yarn I used was Harrisville Daylights from Amy Sher's shop. It was my first time using this yarn. It's super lovely. I would definitely use it again. However, I've talked before, I do think it's kind of silly that they say that there's like 6 colors of this yarn. There's really one color of this yarn. It's this natural color. Like, it has the tiniest specks of purple. Like, I have to seriously, like, here's one. That's probably like a bigger one right there. So this is the purple colorway, but like, it's not. It's natural with a tint of purple. Like, I don't really, it's kind of funny to me, but the yarn is beautiful. When it blocks, it like just melds together and makes this like beautiful, smooth, even fabric. I wish I had taken a before and after photo of blocking because it changed so much. But yeah, it's knit bottom up. So you knit the body. I cropped mine quite a bit because I have a very short torso, but that was fine, as Amy said. Then you do the bust darts. I think you really can't even tell where they are. Like, the short row bust darts look really nice. Then you shape the fronts, the back, then you add all the ribbing. It's a beautifully written pattern. It's been a wonderfully run test knit. I would consider testing for Amy again. It's been really easy. There's a super long testing period. I have a whole nother month if I needed it to finish this. Everything is beautiful. I have a couple minor notes for her on like pattern things. Half of them are like grammatical, but it's a beautifully written pattern. There's also a second version that is longer. It would go over your hips and includes hip shaping, and that's not something I would normally knit, but I'm intrigued by it. Overall, I am very happy with it. Yeah, it's a little bit wider than I would have hoped. These are the buttons I used. I have these in stash. They are some really pretty old shell buttons that were given to me by a family friend. I liked how the black buttons kind of pulled out the black, like dark speckles within the wool. So what I think I might do once I submit all my feedback for Amy is honestly just like take my sewing machine and turn this inside out like this, where the side seam is, and just take like sew a new seam like right here and take like a couple inches out of the side. It might slightly change the shape of the underarm, like it might have come to more of a V instead of being rounded, but I think it would be okay if that means that I'm gonna wear it more, because it is so cute and I think it's a great, great basic. I just need to get that extra width off. So yeah, that is my test knit. Very happy with it, aside from it being slightly too big, but I think that's something I can easily fix. And once the test is over, I plan to. Last thing I wanted to show you isn't really a finished object as much as an update to one. So last year I knit I always mess this up. I can't remember if it's the Lana vest or the Laura vest. I'll put it on the screen. This is another pattern by Irene Len. Super oversized cable vest. And I knit this in a natural wool color that ended up to just be too yellow for my skin tone. I'll put a picture in of how it originally turned out. It's beautiful. It just wasn't the right color for me. So I finally got around to dyeing it using some Rit dye, and now it's navy. So yeah, dyeing this was super easy and fun. It did shrink up quite a bit. So when I first finished dyeing it and blocked it, it was huge. Like, it had grown so much during the dye process. I wasn't going to be able to wear it. It was like double the size it was before, and it was already really oversized. So in a last ditch effort to save it, I put it through a full like machine wash and dry. And I just thought either this is gonna fix it and it'll come out perfectly, or I'm just gonna have to give up on this and like donate it. And it came out just about perfectly. So yes, here is the navy blue. This is Rit navy blue dye. I think it turned out pretty even. You can still really see all the pretty cables and texture. After drying, the width of the body is now perfect. However, it did get a little bit short. So my thought now, I could wear it like this and I think it would grow with wear, but I think what I might do is give it another block. Just gently soak it in water and try to block a little bit more length back into it, and then I think it would be perfect because I do love it a lot. I want to get a little, like a long sleeve blouse with a bow tie neck to wear under it. I think that would be really cute. So yeah, just a little update to give this one some new life instead of having to find a new home for it. And that was a really fun, like quick and easy little update. Okay, so we're 30 minutes in and that's just the FOs. So let me pause and get my whips. Okay, so first thing I want to share with you are my current socks that I'm working on. I have 2 pairs. One's been ongoing for a while. These are the basic sock number 4 from Summerlee's book, which is a short row heel sock. And I finished the first one and they're crazy. Whoa. These are so crazy and fun. I love them. So these are top down. So there's a 1x1 twisted rib cuff, a teensy bit of leg, and then the short row heel. I do not love Summer's way of doing the short row heel. I have to say that. I have done a short row heel a couple of other times in different sock patterns, like specifically Sari Nordland's. I much prefer her method of doing the short row heel. I just don't love how it came out on the other side of this. You end up with this kind of like pearl row, but it's not on this side. So I just feel like it's a bit uneven and I don't love the way it turned out. So I probably would not use Summerlee short row heel like instructions in the future, but I do enjoy a short row heel. I think it fits me well and it's just a nice kind of continuation if you don't feel like doing a heel flap and gusset. So the cuff yarn is just a leftover scrap that I had. Same with the leg. This is Kelborn Woolen's Perennial Base in pink, which I think has a little bit of alpaca in it actually. It's a bit fuzzy. And then for the toe, I did this crazy lime green. This is just a little mini that I got at local yarn store today at one of our local shops. So yeah, I finished the first one. They're totally crazy, but super fun. I'm trying to be inspired by Summerlee's use of color and like her crazy wild patterns and color combinations. That's what I love about her patterns. So I'm trying to use what I have to create like similarly wacky and fun like color combinations. So yes, I finished the first one and I have started the second one. Didn't get too far, but I did knit the cuff and the leg and the short row heel. So now it's just knitting 80 rows of stockinette in neon pink yarn. So yeah, I've kind of gotten it to the point where it's perfect car knitting again. So we'll see when that one gets finished, but I just kind of work on it a little bit here and there when I have time in the car or on the go. Okay, next one is the next stripy sock recipe from Summer's book, and I'm loving these. So let me show you the yarns I'm using. The main one is this bright blue tweed. This is from A Chick That Knits, and it is called Blue Moon on the Donegal sock tweed base. So I got this secondhand, knew that I was going to use these to make socks for Troy, and that is what I'm doing. Super fun, pretty yarn. And for my stripes, I am using this, which is also leftover Kelborn Woolen's Perennial. The color is like silver maybe. It's kind of like a light bluish gray. And here is what I've started. So these are a really cute little Breton stripe and I love them. So we've got a 2x1 rib cuff, about 1 inch, and then starting the stripe pattern. So I'm doing 9 rows of the main color and 3 rows of the contrast color. And I'm again doing that jogless stripe tip, and that is where you knit the first row of the new color plain and then on the first stitch of the second row, you pick up the right leg of the stitch below and you knit them together, and that kind of like pulls it up to help eliminate the jog. So I don't know, it's working to varying effect, I think. Like this one is probably the most successful, but this is also, the main color has some color variation. So like that's a stitch in the main color, but it looks like a stitch in this color. So I don't know, I feel like it looks better than not doing it, but I don't think it looks like perfect. And I'm also carrying the yarns up the inside of the sock. So you're supposed to catch it every couple of rows, and I keep forgetting to do that, so I'm just not doing it. And I'm just trying to make sure that there's still enough like flexibility and give in the yarn so that that doesn't get really tight. So far it seems fine. So this is all I'm gonna do on the leg for these. It's about almost 4 inches. And now I'm gonna start the heel. So this one's gonna have a classic heel flap and gusset with a heel turn. We'll do the leg and then that's it. So I think the heel and toe will also be in the main color, and then we'll just have the really cute little like colored stripes. So I did finally actually measure Troy's feet to figure out what size of sock to make for him. His feet are smaller than mine, so I usually make a 64 stitch sock for myself, but I'm trying out a 56 stitch sock for him this time, so that it fits a little bit tighter. We'll see. I do feel like for summer's recommended sizes, I end up going down. So based on my foot measurement, I should be making her size XL, and I always make a size medium because I just like a tighter fitting sock. So for Troy, I should be technically making a size medium based on her recommendation. I'm making the size small. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully it's a good fit for him. Maybe he'll end up needing really more of like a 60 stitch sock, but we'll see. We'll try this and we'll go from there. I'm loving this color combo. I think it's super fun. And yeah, I knit all of this last night. These are just really fun and quick stripes, man. They're just addictive. I don't know. All right. Next, I have a Tulsa tank. So this is the Tulsa tank by Rebecca Clow. I'm planning to make all 3 versions, but I'm starting with the straight neck version. So here's a picture of what that looks like. And this is knit bottom up. So it's just a bunch of in the round knitting. I think I'm gonna call it here. This is about 6.5 inches, I think. 6 or 6.5 inches of body. I know that I want this to be pretty cropped and just hit me like right at the top of a waistband of a skirt or pants. So I think I might knit like 2 or 3 more rows and then call it and start the shaping. The yarn I'm using for this is Wool and the Gang Dirty Denim. So it's their upcycled denim yarn. I really like the color. It's this like white and blue marl. It's very pretty. However, this yarn is awful to work with. It is so stiff. It's basically a worsted weight cotton. I am not enjoying knitting with it. So I feel like with a more enjoyable yarn, you could probably knit one of these in like less than a week, but I'm really not enjoying this yarn. So it's taken me a little while to get through the body. It is knit on pretty large needles. I think it's, yeah, US 8s, 5mm needles. So the gauge should be pretty open. This is just going to be a heavier one, and that's okay. I think my next 2 that I have planned will be a little bit easier on the hands and a little bit more enjoyable. So I am ready to start the front and back shaping. I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, well, I don't know what else to say really about it. It's a very customizable pattern. It's kind of like a blank slate. So I'm looking forward to making a few different versions. I think I'm making size 5. That's usually the size that I am in Rebecca's patterns. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep chugging away on that one. I really want the top, which is why I'm still working on it, but I have hated knitting with that yarn. It is really hard on the hands and it doesn't like glide easily. I'm just not enjoying it. But I think the top will be very cute. So that one's more of a product knit. Okay, next is my Oolong tank. So this is another pattern by Amy Scher. I'll put a picture of it in here. It's beautiful. It has this like lace panel on the front. And this one is, in contrast to the last one, a joy to work on. And I've made a lot of progress on it. So I finished the body And I have finished the right front. So I am also, again, making size 5. This one, I also did the small size of bust shaping. And yeah, oh yeah, look at that lace. It looks so good. So for the right front, the lace just goes right to the edge, slightly rolls to the back, but it just creates this really pretty edge. I cannot wait to wear this. I think it looks so good and I'm so excited to have it finished. This is a beautiful yarn. This is Kelborn Woolens Mojave. The color is, what is the color? Let's see. I want to say, yeah, slate gray. It's like a really dark blue gray, super pretty. This is a very soft cotton linen blend and it's really, I love working with this. This is definitely more of a fingering to sport weight. I'd say it's like a sport weight. But yeah, in contrast to the denim yarn, this one is lovely to work with. I will say this top has taken me a lot longer than I thought it would. I don't know why I thought this was going to be a quick knit because it is, you know, like a sport weight, fingering weight knit, and it's bottom up. So I feel like, you know, getting through the body always takes a little longer. I have one more front to do. The front was very quick. The back panel I think is going to take some time. But then it's just armhole ribbing and then you're done. So I definitely think that I will have this finished sometime in July in time to still hopefully be able to wear it a few times, but it is definitely taking longer than I thought it would. But I think it'll be worth it. And the fabric is beautiful and I love this color on me. So very excited about that. This is, so I hadn't knit any of Amy's patterns before, but now I've finished the Campus Fest and now I'm knitting this one and they're beautifully written patterns. I just really am a fan of her and her work and her size inclusivity and her ethical practices. I'm just a big fan. So I'd really recommend any of Amy's patterns if you haven't tried one yet. And the Oolong tank is a great summer pattern. So, okay, 2 more knitting projects and then I'm just gonna quickly touch on a spinning project and a quilting project. This was a new cast on as well since we last spoke. It's gonna be hard for me to show this, so I'm just gonna put in a picture of the design for now. This is the Lily Sheer Top by Irene Lynn. Big Irene Lynn podcast today. I've got 3 of her things to talk about. This is what the top looks like. It's a newer release from her. It's just this beautiful little like poofy bubble crop top that's knit with 1 strand of lace weight yarn. And it's beautiful. So I went stash diving. I had a bunch of skeins. Well, I can't even really call this a skein. This is a ball of Lang Cashmere Dreams, which I got in a sale at one of my local yarn stores. It's this really pretty like light mauve purple color. It is 65% cashmere, 35% silk. So it's essentially like a lace weight cashmere. It's beautiful. The color is beautiful. And I've started knitting this. It's going to be so hard to show to you right now. Here's what I have. The cord is like slightly too long for this right now, so it keeps wanting to like buckle in on itself, but here's what I have. You can see how it's knitting up. It's just like gossamer. It's so beautiful. And yeah, it has, I didn't really realize this when I started it, but it has almost like a saddle shoulder kind of construction. So it has this like, the increases are kind of like going straight out, and then there's going to be like a poof for the sleeve, which is what I'll be doing next. And then you increase with raglan. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting construction. It has short rows in the back. I think it's going to be beautiful. I picture wearing this over like a black dress or like a black bodysuit with a skirt, so you can really get the full effect of the sheer. It's so soft. It's beautiful to work with. It's going to be warm, I think, even though it's lace weight. Yeah, so I haven't made too much progress on it, but the short rows took me a while. They were a little bit fiddly with this single strand of lace weight yarn. But now that I'm on to the increases, I think we'll get going a little faster. And now that it's a little more substantial, it's a bit easier to work on because it's not just like knitting with, you know, sewing thread. Like it's there's a little bit more something there to work with. So that is a newish project that hasn't gotten a ton of work yet, but I am really excited about that one. I think that's going to be really pretty in the fall and probably winter. I see that being a little, not a summer wear for sure. It's going to be like a cooler weather knit. There is literally like a leaning tower of whips right here. Oh goodness. Okay, so quickly I wanted to touch on two other things. So I've just started up spinning again. I'm kind of participating in Tour de Fleece, which started yesterday. Yesterday was June 29th. If I didn't say the date, today's the 30th. It is Sunday. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, but I just wanted to show you what I did this morning. So right now I am working on spinning up a Falklands wool braid. This is from Three Waters Farms, and the color is Stone and Amethyst. And here is the bobbin I did this morning. Really, really pretty colors, purples, browns, creamy grays. So this is the single I did this morning. I feel like my spinning has gotten definitely less consistent since I haven't been doing it every day recently, but I think it's gonna be just fine. I'm planning to, I had a undyed braid of like natural white targi that I spun previously, and I think I'm gonna apply it with this, so I'll get like a cream and like these colors in like a barber pole. Excuse me. I think that'll be really pretty, and I'm planning to knit like a traveler cowl or something like that out of the hand spun. So yeah, that's what I worked on this morning, just this little single. The Falklands wool also has, the targi was super smooth and like buttery, also from Three Water Farms. I think the Falkland just has a bit more texture to it. It has more, you know, little fluffy bits that need to be picked out and more VM. So yeah, I really like it. I think it's super pretty. I'm spinning this on my EEW Nano, which is the only wheel that I have. I'm definitely getting to the point where I think maybe next year or maybe for Christmas this year, I'm gonna wanna upgrade to the larger EE electric eel wheel, just so I don't have to fiddle around with these little tiny bobbins. I don't mind it. I can definitely get it done. It's just a little bit more tedious to have to use like 4 or 5 little bobbins as opposed to like 1 or 2 large bobbins. So that is my spinning update. And really super quickly, I just wanted to touch on my Sawtooth Star quilt that I've been working on. I am still working on it. Last night I finished cutting out the rest of the pieces. So I cut out 30 more blocks. I cut out the binding, the backing, everything. So everything's cut out now. I just need to finish sewing up the blocks. And I do think I'm on track to finish that by the end of the summer. I'm just gonna try and finish it by the end of August. Getting everything cut out was definitely a big hurdle, so I'm excited to sew some more of those up and show them to you hopefully next time. Okay, that is it for whips. I got through those a lot faster, probably because I finished so much stuff recently. And I definitely feel some new cast-ons coming in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be eager to share those all with you as well in the coming weeks. I have a couple acquisitions and a little bit of chat to share with you at the end. Okay, so as I said, it's been almost a month since I last recorded, so I do have a couple of acquisitions that I wanted to share with you. Looking ahead in Summer Lee's book, after we finish stripes, the next sock pattern is a faded sock. And she recommends using speckled yarns that are similar in tone and value, but are shading from, fading, from one color to a different color. And I really didn't have anything like that in my stash. So I went on to Hue Logo's website and was taking a look at their minis. And I ended up picking out a few to use for my faded socks. So here's the ones that I bought. I'm trying how to show minis. Okay, so, oh man, this is hard to show. Okay, maybe if I hold it like this. Yeah. All right, so, sorry. Should have come up with a better way of doing this. Okay, so I bought these 5. They kind of start from lightest here and go to this like orangey coppery color. And I really like them all. However, once I got them in, I think I'm only gonna actually use 3 of them. So but which 3 was it? I think I'm gonna save these 2, and I might only do the faded socks with these 3. And kind of start with this like greeny color and fade it into the more coppery color. Or I could also add this lighter green, which that might be nice actually to have 4 colors. I just think that this lightest one doesn't quite go. I think these ones are a bit more harmonious. So yeah, maybe I'll go with these 4 in a fade from green to teal. It's kind of giving copper penny, it's giving Statue of Liberty, like oxidation, which is really fun. And I think these might end up being for Troy also, or possibly for a friend. So very excited to cast these on. Those are gonna be super fun. And that was just like a fun little purchase for those. And I think I'll end up, this one's still really cute. So if I don't end up using it in this, I'm sure I'll end up using it in some other socks. Okay, next thing was a sweater quantity. So I almost always try and buy yarn with a plan. But in this particular case, I saw this yarn, immediately loved it. And I was like, no, I don't need that. I couldn't even find a plan for it. Like I was like, oh, what could I make with that? And couldn't really find anything. So I didn't buy it. And I kept seeing it on Instagram and in my feed like over and over again over the next like month. And every time I saw it, I was like, oh, like I kept thinking about it and coming back to it. And that never really happens for me. Like usually if I see something and I like it, but I don't buy it, then I'm fine. But this, I just kept thinking about it. So I decided to buy some. And that is the collaboration between La Mercerie and La Bien-Aimée. They did, La Bien-Aimée dyed the Durham Natures Gilead base. And this color I just loved. So it's this like beautiful mauve with these speckles of pink and yellow and blue. I hope it's coming across. I feel like you get a little more credit for it in real life, but it kind of just has these like dried flower petal like colors. It's so beautiful. So I have a sweater quantity of this. And since buying it, I actually do have a couple ideas. I think I might either make the Pina Colada by Thea Coleman. Here's a picture, which just came out recently, and this is the recommended yarn. Or I might make the Rosemary jacket or Rosemary cardigan by Amy Christoffers, which I think would also be really beautiful in this. So we'll see. I'm hanging on to it for the fall. We'll see what comes of it. But yeah, this feels like a really special, beautiful yarn, and I'm excited to use it. Last one, Camellia Fiber Co., who I also love. They're based out of Nashville. They had a post on their Instagram asking people to leave them a Google review, and in exchange you would get a $15 gift card. So I went ahead and did that because I'm a big fan. So I left them a Google review and they sent me a $15 gift card. And I used that to buy 1 skein of their Rainbow Sprinkles yarn, which was a limited edition yarn. I think they did it last year as well for June. It's kind of a pride colorway. So it's an undyed base, and then it just has like really fun little rainbow sprinkles. Yeah, rainbow sprinkles, that's the colorway. So I think this is gonna be very cute socks. I'm excited to like wind this up and see, because I think there's a lot more color like inside than you're really seeing like right on the surface here. And I think this would be so cute in a pair of like ribbed or like textured socks. So once I get to that section of Summer's book, I'm sure I'll be wanting to pull this one out. One other acquisition, which I just purchased last night, but isn't going to be here for a while. But I'll go ahead and tell you about it because I think maybe the pre-order is still open. Ruby and Roses is doing a pre-order for their, I think it's like wildflowers or like flowers gone wild collection. And I have never done a pre-order before. It just hasn't been my jam. But there was a mini set in this pre-order that I was very obsessed with. I try not to swear on here. Sorry about that. Very obsessed with it. So I had seen this on like Nitty Natty's channel. She got this mini set and I loved it. It's another one of those ones where I kept coming back to it, and I know exactly what I want to make with it as soon as I saw it. So I ordered 2 sets actually of this mini set. It's the Happy Place mini set. It has these 820-gram minis, beautiful, all my favorite colors, pinks, reds, purples, love. And I also ordered 4 skeins of the color Wisteria on their DK base. And what I'm planning to make with these, with the Wisteria as the main color, is the Daft Days cardigan by Rebecca Clow, which is a pattern I purchased already last year. Here's a picture of it. And I think I'm gonna save this as like an advent, like, I don't know, I'm so torn though, because, well, so the yarn may not come for 3 to 4 months. So if the yarn doesn't come until like the end of October, I will save it at that point, probably. Don't hold me to it. But if it doesn't come till the end of October, I will likely save this as like an Advent or holiday season knitting project. That's kind of how the cardigan was designed, to use up an Advent. I did not order an Advent this year. I'm kind of considering this my Advent. So I think that would be a really fun like holiday project, kind of like do a stripe or 2 a day in like an Advent style. If it comes much earlier, I might go ahead and cast it on, because I think it would be so fun to wear this in the fall. So we'll see what happens. Very excited about it though. I'll definitely show it again when I receive it. That is pretty much it. I just wanted to touch on Tour de Fleece. As I said, that kicked off yesterday. I think it's June 29th to July 21st. I've never participated before. I only just started spinning this year. My understanding is that it's a pretty like casual, like non-organized event. So there are different people have like teams that you can join, which are, I think, for like the social aspect, and you can kind of like help each other, like motivate each other, work towards certain goals. I'm not joining a team this year. I'm just gonna have a personal goal to try and spin every day for that time period. So starting yesterday, today through July 21st. And I actually don't have that much fiber. So if I get through everything, I'll have to acquire some more fiber. Luckily, one of our local yarn stores does sell fiber. But yeah, so I'm trying to finish this Falkland spin. Then I'm gonna apply it with the Targhee. That'll probably be, you know, I'll consider applying like part of the Tour de Fleece. And then I have 1 bat that I'd like to spin up, and that's probably gonna be spun on its own, just like a 2-ply. And then I have a bunch of little samples that I ordered of different types of fiber. So I might start working my way through those. I think I have 10 or 12 of those, so that could definitely take up, like if I did like 1 a day, that could definitely take up a decent chunk of that time. And then we'll see from there if I think once I work through everything I have, I kind of want to plan a spin for a project. I really want to make a night shift shawl by Andrea Mallory. I think that would be really fun to like more intentionally acquire some fiber to spin for that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I also wanted to give you an update on my summer crafty bingo. So today, publishing this podcast is going to give me my bingo for June. So in my bingo is the free space, complete Targhee spin, sew a garment, publish podcast, and sew a garment. And other things I checked off: knit socks, finish Hannah cardigan, over dye the cable knit vest, which I showed you, publish another podcast, knit another pair of socks, finish my campus vest. So yeah, I'd say I checked off maybe half of these. And then I got my bingo, and I went ahead and just made my one for July. So for July, some of the things are consistent. I've done them in every month, like knit 2 pairs of socks, sew 5 garments. Like this past month, I only sewed 2 garments, but I'm still putting it on here. But this month in July, I've added a lot more spinning goals, since I know I'm going to be doing more of that. So everything I just was talking to you about Tour de Fleece, I've added on for my July bingo. So that's been really fun. I've enjoyed that. It's just that extra little sense of like accomplishment to like cross off the box. So that's been fun. That is all the crafty stuff. I know it's a lot. As I said, I've been doing a ton of crafting lately, but summer is weird for us. It's been so busy. Like, I feel like I've found time for crafting, but it's usually because I'm so exhausted from like everything else we've been doing, and then I haven't really just had the energy or a good time to record the podcast. Or when it's been a good time to record, it's been like rainy and horrible outside, so it just really didn't come together to publish any earlier. But you know, I'm trying to kind of take it easy over the summer. Like, the social commitments have really ratcheted up, and it's a little bit harder to try and record every 2 weeks. So hopefully I've set a day aside in 2 weeks. Hopefully I'll be able to be back a little bit sooner, but I'm also trying to give myself some grace in the summer. It's just a crazy time. And yeah, hopefully the weather is nice where you are. It is now that we're over the heat dome, it's been very nice here. My garden is middling success. Like, it's been okay this year. Something keeps eating all of my peppers. Last year we had a huge pepper harvest, no issues with them. This year, I think it's deer that are coming and just like eating all the leaves, which is weird to me because I didn't think that deer usually bothered like peppers or tomatoes, but they're eating my tomatoes too. So I'm still gonna get a lot of tomatoes. I think those plants are pretty resilient and they're kind of bouncing back, but like every couple of days I'll go out and a bunch of the leaves are gone. Like, I don't know. I think we're gonna have some zucchini. And we've got some herbs, so I don't know, we'll see. It's not been quite as successful this year, but I also haven't put quite as much time into it, so it's still fun to go out and water it and check on everything. I don't know what else I have. We've got a trip coming up in a couple of weeks. So hopefully I'll record again in 2 weeks, and then right after that we're gonna be going down to North Carolina to visit some friends. I'm gonna be visiting knitting friend Jess, and my partner has a friend down there as well that we're gonna visit, so really excited about that. That's just gonna be kind of a long weekend, but it should be a good time. And who knows, maybe we'll even record some knitting content down there. So I hope that you all are like having a great summer. I hope it's off to a really fun start. I hope you have nice weather that's not too hot. And I hope that you get lots and lots of crafting time in this summer. Please leave me a comment below and let me know what you're working on. I always love to hear what you all are working on as well. And yeah, I will see you next time. Thank you for being here. Bye.